Brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It is a great honor for me to speak about Sheikh Ibn Baaz rahimahullah. Briefly, I will like to introduce you who was Sheikh Ibn Baaz rahimahullah. We know all Bin Baaz. So his kunya was Abu Abdullah. His eldest son, Abdullah. I've seen all his children, boys. The girls, alhamdulillah, he had total 10 children. Boys, I've met them. Abdullah, Abdurrahman, Ahmed, and Khalid. Amongst all those four, Ahmed was mostly the one who used to practice the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who was very close to Sheikh Ibn Baaz rahimahullah. And indeed, after the death of Sheikh Ibn Baaz rahimahullah, others also, mashallah, they were practicing. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward them. So Sheikh Abdullah ibn Baaz, rahmatullah alayh, his name is Abdul Aziz bin Abdullah ibn Abdurrahman ibn Muhammad ibn Abdullah al-Baz. Sheikh was born in Riyadh in 1330. And when he was born, subhanallah, he was not blind. He could see. And, he was able to read the books. He was able to study. And then in year 1346 Hijri, a sickness happened to him. You can say into his eyes. And then his eyes were, or you could say his brightness was losing. He could not see properly. And then later on, years, probably he was only a teenager when he lost completely his eyes. He could not see. But my brothers, subhanallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, blessed him with a great knowledge. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah, will give him a great reward hereafter. And in this dunya, subhanallah, wherever you go, you will hear Sheikh Ibn Baaz rahimahullah. So he was a ni'mal rajul, a great man. And he started his study when he was small. He memorized the Quran when he was, again, a child. And then, subhanallah, he studied amongst the great scholars during his time. I've got lots of lists, but I'll just mention one or two. Number one, Samahat al-Sheikh Muhammad ibn Ibrahim ibn Abdul Latif al-Sheikh, the great scholar of Saudi Arabia, and he was a mufti of Saudi Arabia. Sheikh is a special student who studied under Sheikh Ibrahim for 10 years. And then Sheikh's got other mashaykhs, like from Mecca, Sheikh Sa'd ibn Waqas, Sheikh Ahmed bin Faris, Sheikh Sa'd bin Ahmed, and Sheikh Abdul Haq al-Hashmi in Makkah al-Mukarramah. So Sheikh rahimahullah also had a lots of different, you can say, posts while he was, once he was able. So, and the first thing was he was appointed a judge in Kharj, one of a small town next to Riyadh. He was there for almost 10 years. And then from there, he was brought back to Riyadh, and he was teaching in Masjid al-Ilmi. And then that Masjid al-Ilmi was converted into a Kulliyat al-Sharia, where he used to teach brothers in there. And then, subhanallah, Sheikh Ibn Baaz rahimahullah was moved to Madinat al-Munawwara as the deputy chairman or deputy chancellor of the Islamic University, because the chancellor was the mufti of Saudi Arabia at that time, Sheikh Ibrahim. And then after a few years, the king at that time ordered that he became the chancellor of Islamic University in Medina Munawwara, and he used to teach lots of students in Medina, in Jamia Islamiyya, and also in Masjid Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And then he was appointed after that as a mufti, not mufti, before that as a president of, subhanallah, a great, which is الرئيس العام لإدارات البحوث والعلمية والإفتاء والدعوة والإرشاد, as a minister. That he was a president of all those theses which used to be written by, and also Dawah committee, Iftar committee, and calling the people towards the Quran and the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and guiding the people. And then he was made as a mufti in 1416 Hijri. Sheikh rahimahullah, he was made the mufti of Saudi Arabia until his death. Rahmatullah alayh. This is just a brief anyway. Now, I will just mention you few his sifat wa akhlaq. And then I'll give you examples. I stayed in his house for 1 year. 1 year. Brothers, wallahi, I could say that Shaykh rahimahullah, he had a great akhlaq. And I believe that he had akhlaq, adapted from the books of hadith, from the scholars. I have never ever seen Sheikh Ibn Baaz rahimahullah praying fard prayer in his house. Never. And he never ever missed his nawafil prayer. Nawafil prayer are night prayers. Normally he used to pray in his house, but early morning, before sometime the muazzin give azan, he used to come on the door which was into the majlis, and he used to say, Salah, Salah, Salah. And myself and some other students, we used to try to be there before him, so we can ask him as much as we can. And then he used to come and go into the majlis, where he used to, during the day, meet the people, and he used to pray the nawafil there. Nawafil prayer. Sometimes he used to pray in his house, and then just before Fajr he used to come there. But he used to pray lots of nawafils. But every single day, which he never missed, the 2 sunnah prayers of Fajr, he used to pray in his majlis. And after that, after praying sunnah, which us, myself, including and many others, we do not practice that sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that is taking a rest on your right side while you're laying down. This is the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Every single day he used to do that. Every single day. So Shaykh Ibn Baaz rahimahullah, he was a great man, a great character, and subhanallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given him a great knowledge and great ability, and he was, subhanallah, Allah gave him a great thought. Even the non-Muslims, a couple of years ago, I met a non-Muslim American who just came on I think it was a Saudi day in London embassy. I met him, and I said, we got introduction to each other, and I said, I'm Imam in Masjid Ibn Baaz rahimahullah. Masjid Ibn Baaz? And he says, yeah, Masjid Ibn Baaz. I said, have you met him? He said, when I was in USA embassy in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, I visited him, and I found him that Sheikh Ibn Baaz is a wise man. Although there was some different issues, and he mentioned one. He said the Shaykh rahimahullah, he wrote a book, how the earth is, how the moon is, and so on. So there are different amongst the scholars anyway. But he said that I haven't seen any Muslim, who practiced the religion of Islam. This is from a non-Muslim. I met him first time. So Shaykh rahimahullah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given him a great ability. And Shaykh rahimahullah, this is the greatness of Shaykh rahmatullah alayh. He used to dislike when people used to praise him in front of people. Shaykh Ibn Baaz, you're great. Shaykh Ibn Baaz, you've done this, you've done that. He used to stop the brothers. He used to stop the speakers. And even sometimes, when you give an introduction to the speakers, and once it was a great scholar, Dr. Muhammad Shoaib, and many others, they were giving a small introduction of Shaykh Ibn Baaz rahimahullah, the Mufti of Saudi Arabia, the person who's got great knowledge. He said, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, a'udhu billahi min shaitan rajim, ittaqillah, kafaya, khalas. He says, subhanallah, what are you doing, man? Don't praise me. I'm nothing. He stopped that man, and many others. And Shaykh rahimahullah also, he used to dislike, the government for many reasons, like having roads on his name, schools on his name. No, he subhanallah, he said there are people better than me, and he meant by the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I think rightly, brother Dr. Ibrahim Sahab mentioned, Sheikh Abdul Aziz bin Baz rahimahullah, he was hujjah. He was hujjah to us Ahlul Hadith, because I believe, as I said to you, when I was in his house, he used to practice the Qala Allah wa Qala Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And this is the manhaj of Ahlul Hadith. And he even himself, rahimahullah, used to say, Salfu Salihin. And King Fahad, rahimahullah, used to call Shaykh Ibn Baaz, rahimahullah, Imam, not Imam. He used to say, Samahta waliduna, in respect and honor. Because Shaykh Ibn Baaz, rahimahullah, never ever asked the government, never asked any rich people to give me something like this. And my brothers, I will mention you three things about Shaykh Abdul Aziz bin Baz rahimahullah. And then I'll come back on to the great things, what he used to do. Sheikh Ibn Baaz rahimahullah, he was عزيز النفس مترفها عن الدنيا وشواهد ذلك كثيرة. You know, when he was appointed as the Vice Chancellor and then the Chancellor of Islamic University, I think it was a King Faisal rahimahullah at that time, and they gave him a house to live. And they said, this is yours. This is yours. And he said, no. He turned the keys back. He said, no, this is not my house. And I don't want you to put this house on my name. Make this house whoever is going to become the Chancellor of Islamic University. And similar, even in Mecca, he was given a house as a mufti. He says, again, I don't want anything on my name. Make this, whoever will be mufti, that house will belong to him. And there are many, many other things, you know. Sheikh Ibn Baaz rahmatullah alayh, he was so generous. He was so generous. Whoever used to come to him, you know, and meet him first time or second time, and look, subhanallah, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him the aql. How Allah gave him a thought. If you met him once, and this is from my own experience, if you met him once, and you just said, Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh Abdul Aziz, and he'll say, Menon, who's this? And you said, I'm Shoaib, or Ali, or Muhammad, and I'm from UK, or I'm from Pakistan, or India, whatever. And after years, if you go back to him, Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh Abdul Aziz, kif halak? And he will say, Ahlan wa sahlan ya Shoaib, Ahlan wa sahlan ya Ali. Subhanallah, from the voice, he would recognize. And sometimes with the mas, you know, when he used to hold him, he could say, this is so and so. This is mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on Sheikh Ibn Baaz rahimahullah. Sheikh, as I said to you, he was so generous that his door was open for everyone. And especially the students of knowledge. Especially the students of knowledge. I'll just mention you one, my brothers. Once I was in his house. Once, and that is back in 1984. And one of the president of Arab states, I think it was Muhammad al-Nahyan, Ali al-Nahyan, I forgot his name now, Ali al-Nahyan anyway, the father, he was coming, and Sheikh Ibn Atiq, who was the director of Sheikh Ibn Baaz rahimahullah's house, and he whispered into his ear that he's coming, and what about these students? First they said to him to get out, and one of the students says, what? Sheikh Ibn Baaz rahimahullah said, leave them where they are. Don't take anybody out of this majlis. Leave these students, leave these people here. He's coming, like this chair on my left and right. These are for him. People though with him, they will inshallah find the chairs. This is the respect to people of knowledge. This is the respect in Sheikh Ibn Baaz rahimahullah ta'ala in his house. Brothers, as I said to you, he was so generous, his house was open to everyone. Everyone. And there was a time, Sheikh rahimahullah, he was struggling financially. Then he asked Wazir al-Maliyah, or at that time as Wakil al-Waliyah, that I need a loan from you. Loan, and I will pay you back. Or you can take back from my wage. That was the time for Sheikh Ibn Baaz rahimahullah. My brothers, how did I meet Sheikh Ibn Baaz rahimahullah? You know, I was saying to the brothers that it was very difficult to meet him. Very difficult to meet Sheikh Ibn Baaz. I came from Medina just to meet Sheikh Ibn Baaz rahimahullah. And I was told that go to his office and you will meet him. Early morning, I think it was about 9:30, 10 o'clock. As soon as Sheikh walked in, so I just went straight to Sheikh Ibn Baaz rahimahullah. And there was a people surrounding him. Amongst them was Sheikh Ibrahim al-Husayyan rahmatullah alayh, and the Minister of Islamic Affairs, Sheikh Abdul Latif al-Sheikh, he was also there, and many others. So I just went straight to Sheikh, Assalamu alaikum, I'm a student from Islamic University, I would like to talk to you. And all he said to me in a Bedouin way, Doha, you know, after Dhuhr, or Nahayat al-Dawam, sorry. He said, Nahayat al-Dawam, inshallah. And then he went straight to the majlis, to his office. I thought Sheikh just pushed me away, you know, and at the end, he's not going to meet me. And subhanallah, so I was there, I went to his mosque, and look, Sheikh Ibn Baaz rahimahullah, he used to lead prayer in Masjid in the big mosque which is Masjid Imam Turki in central Riyadh at that time, Fajr Salah and Dhuhr Salah, and sometimes Asr also. Fajr, we used to go with him in a car, and as I mentioned, if it's a cold weather, hot weather, he was leading the prayer. He was a madrasa. He was a madrasa. After Fajr, I'll come back again now. So I met at that time Sheikh Ibn Baaz rahimahullah, and he said to me, come at end of the time of the when we finished our work. So I was there, and when he came out at that time, my brothers, there was lots of mashaykhs, lots of people. I thought, no way, man, I will never be able to reach Sheikh Ibn Baaz rahimahullah. And so I tried, but I couldn't reach him. So I just came back and said, okay, I should go back to Medina. And I was just sitting down. This is, Allah's my witness. Allah's my witness. I was sitting down and thinking, suddenly Shaykh Ibrahim al-Sayyid, rahimahullah, who served Sheikh Ibn Baaz rahmatullah alayh for 27 years. 27 years. He never used to go to his house. He was always staying with him. Hardly used to go for 1 or 2 days. He just came, Shoaib al-Barithani, Sheikh Ibn Baaz is calling you. My heart was just banging like that, man. What's happening? Wallahi, brothers, believe me or not, I thought he's just going to say to me, come tomorrow, oh, I'll see you in office, and this and that. So when I came, normally Shaykh Ibrahim al-Sayyid used to sit with Shaykh Ibn Baaz a back seat. And now, at that time, Shaykh Ibrahim went in front, and he told me to sit next to Shaykh Ibn Baaz rahimahullah. So my heart was pumping, you know, I'm sitting with Shaykh Ibn Baaz. And so Shaykh Ibn Baaz says, Masmuk, and so on. I couldn't even answer it, you know, because subhanallah, the great scholar and the Mufti of Saudi Arabia, and subhanallah, he's honoring me to sit with him and talk to him. But after a few seconds, he says, Ya bunay, la tkhaf, la tkhaf, khair inshallah. My son, don't be scared. Now speak what you want. Subhanallah, you know, he opened my heart. And then we talked and went to his house. And after that, I stayed in his house for almost a year. Almost a year in his house. And I was telling you that subhanallah, you know, early morning when he used to wake up, then he used to pray nawafil in his house, the 2 sunnah in his house, and then back to his masjid in Dira, or Masjid Imam Turki, where he used to lead the Fajr prayer. After Fajr prayer, he didn't used to come back straight away like us nowadays. As soon as the Imam says, Salamatullah, and we are back. Shaykh Ibn Baaz used to sit in the masjid until the sunrise. And by sitting in the masjid, he was not just doing the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala lonely, no. First thing, Al-Quran al-Kareem. One student used to read Quran and he used to listen. And then Sahih Bukhari. And then Sahih Muslim. And then Sunnah Abi Dawood. Then Aqidat al-Tahawiyya. And subhanallah, you know, it was continuing all the way till the sunrise. Then he used to pray 2 rakats, back home. That was his habit every single day. Other than sometimes Thursday, because Mondays and Thursday, because he was fasting. And so he used to say to the students, you know, be merciful to me too. You know, subhanallah. So one thing, my brothers, I'm going to tell you, Shaykh Ibn Baaz rahimahullah, he always used to come to the masjid when he was a student, early, and when he was a mufti until his death. He was you could say, the first person who used to enter into the masjid. First person. Once, Shaykh Ibn Baaz rahimahullah, he said that only once. Only once in Riyadh, when Sheikh Ibrahim al-Hussein, Sheikh Muhammad bin Ibrahim, and there was another of a Sheikh's teacher, he was giving a lecture and Sheikh slightly came late. Probably he missed first rak'ah, and he was praying in the corner. And because he was reading the hadith, he was reading the verses of Quran and tafsir also, so where's Shaykh Ibn Baaz? He said he's praying. So his teacher said, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillah, and then he gave a small talk. You know, the students of knowledge, they shouldn't waste their time. They should come on time. They should pray. You know, they should be in the masjid. Sheikh said that while I was praying, I thought, that's it. Sheikh is talking about me. And after he said, Salamatullah, I made to myself that I will never be late. And he says, from that day until before he died, anyway, he was never late. And I personally said to you, my brothers, for 1 year, you know, when the Muazzin gives the adhan, after that, he used to walk towards the masjid. After that, he walks towards the masjid. Normally in Riyadh, they give you half an hour or 20 minutes. He used to walk towards the masjid. And by walking, normally, I used to think that this is a golden opportunity for me to ask Shaykh Ibn Baaz rahimahullah, because there are always scholars, always brothers who were asking Sheikh Ibn Baaz rahmatullah alayhi the questions. So I used to ask him lots of questions. So he was patient with me for 1-2 days. And then Sheikh, you know what he said to me? Ya bunay, ittaqillah. Wallah, he said, oh my son, fear Allah. You know, I've been patient with you for 1-2 days. And this is not the time to ask the question. This is not the time to speak to me. Wallahi, Shaykh, when he was walking towards the masjid, and I was thinking, now this is the best time because there's only myself with him. But he said to me, Ya bunay, la tashaghalni bi dhikrillah. You know, now it's time of dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then he read the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says that Allah is forgiving you on every footstep. And you are making me, you know, busy in asking the questions and answers, asking the masail. You can ask me later on. And he said that, subhanallah, he read not one hadith, lots of hadith. Ajr tam, you know, you get full reward if you do the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala this time, like Umrah and Hajj, and so and so. And even Sheikh Ibn Baaz rahimahullah, he said to me, because he used to have his hand on my hand here, and this hand on my hand used to be on here. And when there used to be steps when we are entering into the masjid, so I used to say daraj, or 1 or 2 or 3. Wallah, he said to me, don't, you know, disturb me when I'm doing the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when I'm remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know, he said that just do like this, one step. If it's 2 steps, just do like that 2. Or if it's 3, just say 3. Why? Because he was attached with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah blessed him with everything, but he was remembering Allah. He was pleasing Allah. You know, and this is not only what happened to me, many of the other brothers who were there. So that's number 1. Number 2, my brothers, when he used to enter into the masjid, he used to pray Tahiyatul Masjid right behind the Imam. And then, subhanAllah, after praying the Tahiyatul Masjid, he used to pray 2 rakats, sometimes more. And then, Salamatullah, whoever is on his right or left, he used to say, Assalamu alaikum, kayf halak, tayyib. You know, how are you? And then on left, Salamatullah. But the point which I'm going to make to you now, my brothers, which us Muslims, us brothers here in the United Kingdom, when we are standing for prayer, then we always say that our imams, the Ahl Hadith imams and other imams, even they said, make sure your saf is straight, feet to feet and shoulder to shoulder. And Sheikh Ibn Baaz himself, when he used to lead the prayer, he used to say that. But when he was standing behind the imam, you know, we couldn't see now, and he couldn't even stress more. So what he used to do, if the feet of the other person is not touching, he used to pull that person. He used to pull that person from left or even right with a piece of cloth. This is the important of the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That come on, make sure your saf is straight. Don't leave any gaps. Don't leave any gaps. Make sure your feet sit touching the other brothers, feet to feet and shoulder to shoulder. Subhanallah. And then my brothers, subhanallah, this is the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which he used to practice. And there are lots of others I do want to mention. As I mentioned to you, my brothers, that he was so generous when whoever used to come from abroad and even from other cities to meet Sheikh Ibn Baaz rahimahullah, and Assalamu alaikum, alaikum assalam, kaf halik, tayyib, who's with you, so and so is with me. Where are you staying? If he just said, I just came to you to meet you, tayyib, you know, we'll say to him that you just came to me, don't look for the accommodation now, go to Al-Batha Hotel and tell them the Sheikh Ibn Baaz send you. On his, you know, the bill will come to Sheikh Ibn Baaz rahimahullah. That's how generous he was. He doesn't know even you. He doesn't know even you. And there are lots of things about Sheikh Ibn Baaz rahimahullah. A person came to him and he said, I need some money. And I need 10,000 riyals or something like this. And so he asked Sheikh Ibrahim Rasiyan to write 10,000 riyals. And then he put a note on it. Make it 200,000. So when he went to the bank, you know, there's also written also. So they caught him. And they phoned to Sheikh Ibn Baaz rahmatullah alayhi's secretary. And Sheikh, subhanAllah, luckily was there. And he says that probably this person, he was shy to ask me. Give him whatever he wants and forgive him for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But just tell him to come back and see me. This is how generous he was. rahimahullah. And brothers, when he died, Sheikh Ibn Baaz rahimahullah, there was loan upon him. Loans upon Sheikh Ibn Baaz, over 3 million reals. 3 million reals. Loans from whom? Where was he spending? As I said to you, his clothes used to be very cheap. He was not wearing, like us, wearing a special mark clothes, shoes, even those, or even the, what do you call the, subhanallah, I'm forgetting my Arabic now, shimagh or gutra, very expensive. No, very simple. And he was so patient, my brothers. Sometimes even students, when they used to come and ask to Sheikh Ibn Baaz rahimahullah, you know, he had a car and there was like a mark on the car, back on the plate number. He said, let's go across. So one of the students started taking off. Shaykh, ittaqillah, you've got cross in your car. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Jazakallah khair. So if it's us nowadays, somebody's robbing from my car, I would think 10 times, what are you doing? And he used to be so patient with them. So patient, subhanallah, whenever people used to ask him the questions. And another thing about is, if that, this is the last thing anyway, if the brothers coming to Sheikh Ibn Baaz rahimahullah from different towns, and lots of questions that people used to ask, especially the talaq cases. And the Shaykh rahimahullah, he had appointed special people in every single city. Say a person came from Medina to Sheikh Ibn Baaz rahimahullah, Shaykh, I've divorced my wife, and can you give me your opinion? He wouldn't say, okay, what did he say to her? And how did he say to her? He would say, okay, tayyib, jazakallah khair. He used to say, idhab in al-Medina. So-and-so is a person appointed by him, and the Shaykh fulan and fulan. Anta wa iyaha, you and your wife, and take somebody else with you, speak to that person, and come to the right channel. And inshallah they will guide you. I mean, there are lots of examples of Sheikh Ibn Baaz rahimahullah, lots of. Lastly, my brothers, and this is the last thing, and I'm the witness, this thing will happen in Sheikh Ibn Baaz rahimahullah house. Once somebody called Sheikh Ibn Baaz rahimahullah at midnight, Sheikh. At midnight, probably, I don't know, was it 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock, from Medina to Munawwara. The government of Turkey are going to kill so-and-so scholars of Islam. Sheikh Ibn Baaz, can you please phone him and tell him not to do this? And those scholars, they were not Salafis. Now I'm telling you, my brothers. They were people of knowledge. You were listening to earlier from the scholars that we must respect others. We respect Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah. We respect Imam Ahmed bin Hanbal rahimahullah. We respect Imam Malik rahimahullah. We respect Imam Shafi rahimahullah. And we respect even those who follow them. We even say to them that look what they said, that our madhab is a sahih al-hadith wa huwa madhhabi. Our madhab is that right hadith. That is our madhab. And Shaykh rahimahullah used to respect them. He used to respect them. And subhanallah, he used to honor them. He used to honor them. And subhanallah, somebody said to him, can you please save 1, 2, 3, 4 ulama? The Turkish government is going to kill them. So Shaykh Ibn Baaz rahimahullah came from his house to his office, home office, in his office. And he said, okay, write this letter. And he wrote that letter to, President of Pakistan at that time. It was General Dawah Work. So the man who was writing, he says, Samahat al-Shaykh, what's going on? The people, the imams or the scholars, they are in Turkey. And you're writing a letter to Pakistan. There's no link. And he says, there is a link. Because the president of Turkey and Dawah Work, they both are best friends. And they used to study together. And the Dawah Work, he used to respect Sheikh Ibn Baaz rahimahullah a lot. So the letter was written and it was taken by Sheikh bin Qaud to Pakistan. And Sheikh said to him, make sure you give in the hands of Dawah Work. He gave and he says, Jazakallah khair. Say Islam. He said, no. Sheikh Ibn Baaz said, open this and read and give order. He read it, probably somebody read, and he says, Bashir al-Shaykh, now I'm going to call. And he called the president of Turkey at that time. He says, stop it, don't kill them. He says, what's the link with you? What's the link with you? He said, the person who asked me to do this, they're not his relatives. They're not his friends. He's not doing any business with them. But he never ever would say, unless if they're right. And subhanAllah, they were saved. There are many, many other stories about Sheikh Ibn Baaz rahimahullah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive him, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us towards the Quran and the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Jazakumullah khair. Sorry, brothers, I've slightly taken long. Jazakumullah khair.